Good morning everyone. I am Karen Joy Cañas, a fourth-year political science student, and today I will be sharing to you the SDGs, or also known as the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or Global Goals by the United Nations. So it was first launched and adopted by the 193 UN member states last September 2015. So it was discussed by more than 8 million people, addressing their concerns, issues, problems that faced by their communities, especially their countries. So eventually, they end up 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So this agenda actually aim to achieve decent lives for all on healthy people or healthy planet by 2030. So the question is, why do they came up something like this? So to answer that, we all are aware that our population is rapidly increasing, and by the said 10 years from now, our population will go up to 8 no 11 billion people. So imagine. So statistically and economically, this is not good. So there are more population that our state or the world needs to feed or back up our needs to survive. So the sole purpose of SDG is to eradicate poverty and hunger, fight inequality, tackle climate change, and lastly, to achieve sustainable development for everyone. So before SDG, we actually have the MDG, or also known as the Millennium Developmental Goals. Sure, it actually lessened the rate or of poverty and hunger, but for the record, more than 800 million people are still suffering on those areas. So they are the most vulnerable in the increasing impact of climate change and other environmental degradation. So I will introduce the first goal, which is the end poverty in all its forms everywhere. So poverty is defined as income less than 1.25 USD per day. So the target for this goal includes a world where the poor are not vulnerable to climate change and have equal rights to economic resources. So economic growth must be inclusive to provide sustainable jobs and promote equality. So this goal is aimed to eradicate extreme poverty by year 2030 by all states. Next, we have the end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. So many are still suffering from hunger and malnutrition around the world, mostly women and children. So the food and agriculture sector offers key solutions for development and is central for hunger and poverty eradications. So target for these goals include ending malnutrition, protecting small farmers, protecting the genetic diversity of crops produced, and investing in research to make farming more productive. So third goal consists ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. So ensuring healthy lives and promoting the well-being for all at all ages is essential to sustainable development. Goal includes calls for universal health coverage, increasing healthcare workforce, reducing illness and death by pollution, comprehensive agenda for tackling a wide range of global health challenges such as AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis. So if your state or government offers free vaccination, vaccinate your family to protect them and improve public health. So now let's proceed to the fourth goal, which is ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So obtaining a quality education is the foundation to improve people's lives and sustainable development. So targets for this goal include the needs for access to university level education, vocational training, and entrepreneurial skills. So if ever you have learning or knowledge about something, help children in your community to read. So next we have the fifth goal, which I believe one of the most popular issue that faced by the people of the particular countries. So it is achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. So gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but is necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. So, target for these goals include the freedom from discrimination and violence, ensuring equal rights, and share of leaderships, opportunities, and responsibilities for women as well as property ownership. So several references are made to national appropriateness in interpreting these targets. So call out sexist language and behavior. So sixth goal ensures availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. So clean, accessible water for all is an essential part of the world we want to live in. So basic water scarcity affects 40% of the world population. So target for these goals include program that provides access to basic technologies like toilets and latrines, as well as protecting ecosystem that provide water. So if ever you saw an open faucet that dripping a lot of water, kindly turn it off to avoid wasting water. Next, we have the seventh goal, which ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. So energy is central to nearly every major challenge and opportunity. So about 1.3 billion people globally have no access to electricity. Target for this goal emphasize a conversion to renewable sources and a dramatic improvement in efficiency everywhere. So if you have this in your home, use only energy efficient light bulbs or appliances. Next, we have the eighth goal that promotes sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. So sustainable economic growth will require societies to create the condition that allow people to have quality jobs. About 75 million people between ages 15 and 24 are estimated to be unemployed and out of school globally. So these goals targets closing the gap using innovation as well as separating growth from ecosystem degradation. Then the ninth goal is build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. So investment in infrastructures are crucial to achieving sustainable development. Targets for these goals include fostering a more innovative and environmentally sound approach to industrial development. So if you have anything, any idea or creative minds, you can think of innovative new ways to repurpose old materials. Next, we have the 10th goal, which is the reduce inequality within and among countries. So the world is massively unequal. So we all know that, we experience that, we witness something like that. So to reduce inequalities, policy should be universal in principle, paying attention to the needs of disadvantages and marginalized populations. So target for this goal include financial market regulation to make the playing field more equal. So making migration more orderly, safe, regular, and responsible. So if you ever encounter something like this or any inequality, raise your voice against them, and so that the authorities will heard you and they will make action against it. Followed by the 11th goal, which is make cities and human settlement inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. So there needs to be a future in which cities provide opportunities for all, with access to basic services, energy, housing, transportation, and more. So more than half the world population lives in the cities. So target for this goal include addressing issues like transportation, disaster preparedness, as well as preservation of the world's cultural and natural heritage. So if you have a bicycle, use it if you want to go somewhere, or if you want, preferably just walk if it's just near. That will help you do some exercising, or the most efficient is use public transportation to keep our cities air clean. Next, we have the 12th goal, which ensures sustainable consumption and production patterns. So this goal targets topics like reducing food wastage, corporate sustainability practice, and educating people on the impact of their lifestyle choices. So we should recycle paper, glass, plastic, and aluminum to have a better surroundings and healthy environment. Next, we have the 13th goal, which is, I believe, one of the most important thing that needs to discuss, because it is one of the threats not only by the Philippines but also globally. So this take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. So climate change is a global challenge that affects everyone and everywhere. So this goal has an asterisk as it referenced the Paris Agreement on December 2015, which guides nations to jointly commit to limiting global warming to not more than 2 degrees Celsius. So if ever you have a knowledge about this, since we already tackling this, then educate young people on climate change to put them on a sustainable path early. So we have the 14th goal, which conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. So careful management of this essential global resource is a key feature of sustainable future. So the world's oceans are overfished, underprotected, and stressed from climate change and pollution. So the target for this goal include research and learning to find out more about what lies beneath the ocean so as to better save them. So this might sound cliche, but often we hear this reminder or policy, but avoid using plastic bags to keep the ocean safe and clean. Okay, so after the ocean life, we have the 15th goal, which protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem. So sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, halt and remove land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. So this goal targets halting the threat to living ecosystems and biodiversity on land. Okay, so since this is where we mostly get our oxygen in order to live and breathe fresh air, then we have to plant trees to protect the environment. So 16th goal, promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. So access to justice for all and building effective, accountable institutions at all levels. So target for this goal include reduction of violence and to torture, reduction of corruption, as well as creation of institutions and government that work for everyone. So again, as a citizen of the state, use your right to elect the leaders in your country and local community. So last but not the least is the 17th goal, which strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnerships for sustainable development. So every country in every sector has a role to play in achieving the SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals. So this goal targets ensuring that countries have what is needed in achieving the rest of the SDGs, such as funds, capacities, and technologies. So the goal emphasizes the need for partnership and collaboration. So there are four underlying principles that come with the SDGs, and that there are transformational in the way we work on development in the future. First, the SDGs are universal. They apply to every country, not only limited to first world country, but also in general, whether rich or poor, north and south, developed or underdeveloped. So UN recognize the global challenges like tackling climate change and changing models of development require global solutions. So domestic policies that look at these issues in one country will have an impact on other parts of the world. So we need to coordinate. Secondly, UN integrate all dimensions of sustainability, so economic development, social progress, and environmental protection. For example, growing plants without destroying the soil and water, develop our economies without increasing inequality, or to produce enough electricity for all without pumping more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere that destroy our ozone layer even more. The SDGs tell us that we should leave no one behind. Governments have agreed no goal should be met unless it is met for everyone, including those in society most vulnerable and hardest to reach. So educating must reach indigenous communities, job create for women and men, quality health care available for all rural communities, and water sanitation facilities accessible for people living with disabilities. So tackling exclusion is the key to tackling inequality. And lastly, the SDGs require the participation of everyone. The process to agree the SDG took years and included national dialogues, consultation with civil society groups, the private sector, and academia, and ended with negotiation between all governments at the UN. So there is a sense of ownership of these goals. The result is ambitious, but it reflects what the ideal world wants. Today, the ongoing activity of SDGs require a participation of the national and local level. All stakeholders have role towards their successful achievement. And that's it. So thank you everyone for listening.